And I leaned into him that day, and I said to him, I said, I'm going to become a writer. And that very day, I started writing.
So what do you think is the most important skills that leaders should have in order for them to stay relevant, especially in the current situation?
When people ask me about mentoring, I always share with them, be sure to have different mentors for different reasons and different seasons to speak in your life. So we want to lead well, serve well, add value well, make an impact on Indonesia, because Indonesia, in turn, will make a greater impact on the world.
If there's one wisdom that you can share, especially to the millions of the followers who's watching today, so what will be that one wisdom?
Whoa, that's a great question. Hi, John Maxwell here. I'm so excited about Inspira Fest, Day to Grow.
Di hadapan saya hadir pengusaha-pengusaha hebat Indonesia.
That's coming this November in your beautiful country. Trust me, you do not want to miss it.
This is going to be incredible. I look forward to seeing you live in Indonesia for Inspira Fest Day to Grow.
Hi friends! Today is a very special edition of Friends of Mary Riana. I'm honored to introduce to you a very important person in my life. He has impacted my life positively. He's the best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author. He has 90 books, and definitely he's the world's most influential leadership expert, none other John C. Maxwell. Wow!
How are you? So nice to be with you.
It's my pleasure.
I'm so delighted, and you've been so successful
Thank
on your
you.
show. Congratulations.
Thank you. It has been a dream come true.
Yeah.
I read your book 24 years ago.
When you were 2.
Yeah.
She read my book when she was 2.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And this is the first
all you
book
could be, yes.
that I bought.
Oh, this would be, out of the 90 books, I think this was it was either number 2 or 3. It was either the,
yeah.
yes.
So this changed my life. Be all you can be, and this makes me who I am today.
Thank you,
and
Mary.
20 over years later, I finally meet you in person.
Oh, I know. Well, when we're done, well, be sure I'll sign that to you.
Thank
okay?
you so much. You have been impacted millions of people, millions of leaders all over the
Yes.
world, and you've been doing this for 50 years.
50 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And you've been doing it consistently, but the world changed consistently as well,
course.
especially with the technologies and everything for the past decades. So I'm curious to know more about your perspective. How do you think the concept of leadership changed?
Well, Mary, in my 50 years of teaching leadership, it's changed a lot. For example, when I started teaching leadership, most leaders thought that leadership was position or title. So if they had a leadership position or title, they thought that they were a leader. And today, that's obviously not true at all. Leadership is influence, not what title you have or position. That's a big change. Leadership in the beginning was top down.
Yeah.
And very few teams, the people that would be around a leader wouldn't be a team of leaders with the leader. They would be kind of support people. And it was still kind of very centered on one star, one leader, one person. In fact, I can still remember when it was controversial to, could you have 2 leaders on a team? I mean, could that really work? Today, of course, we know that we want diversity. We want more people. We want different perspectives and different backgrounds. And but it's changed tremendously in that way. But when it started, leadership was the ability to see more than others kind of helped you be a leader. Today, that's still important, but now the ability to see before others because of the technology and the fast
Right.
change that's happened in the world. Now, being before and being quick and kind of agile and being able to be flexible is just very important in leadership. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of changes in the beginning. If you go back even to up to about 1990,
Yeah.
most bookstores they wouldn't have leadership books at all. They'd have management books
Yeah.
because people were managing their companies. But then things happened at a speed and a rate where you couldn't manage it. You had to get in front of it. You had to learn how to lead. And so in the late 1980s and early 1990s, I happened to be privileged to be one of the first writers about leadership. And so we just kind of got there first and have kind of enjoyed the ride since then. But there have been a lot of changes in leadership and will continue to be changes in leadership, just like everything else.
So what do you think is the most important skills that leaders should have in order for them to stay relevant, especially in the current situation?
That's a great question, Mary. I think personal growth and development. I think if you're not continually growing and learning, adjusting, changing, adapting, that very quickly you can be left behind because things move so quickly. So I think the only guarantee of a person's success tomorrow is that they're growing today.
Yeah.
And so I think personal growth is real essential. That would be the thing I'm most passionate about as a leader is, am I still learning? Am I still growing?
Yeah.
Am I still hungry to make myself better? And I think that's real key to any person's life.
Yes, intentional growth.
Intentional growth. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And that's exactly why we are here, because it's not only myself. I want to introduce to you to my great partner. His name is David. He's my partner in MDCO. We have been creating positive impacts in millions of people, especially in Indonesia.
Congratulations.
And not yet, thank you. But the most important thing is, David, and together we want to bring John Maxwell leadership in Indonesia. So this is the guy,
All right.
David.
David, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Wow, how wonderful it is for us to be able to maybe serve you and Mary and just do whatever we can to help the people of Indonesia improve their lives.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot of people know this, but about 8 or 9 years ago, John was visiting Indonesia. And somebody asked me that, I heard that you read John Maxwell's book. I said, yeah, that's right. When I was still learning to crawl, my parents bought me a John Maxwell book. True story. So 1999, that's the first time I read the book, 21 Irrefutable Law of the Leadership.
Sure.
Sure.
And
And then I said, definitely. And then they said that, I heard that you understand American jokes. And I said, I think so. I live in the U.S. side for a few years, right?
Yes.
And I said, but you also know how to translate U.S. dollar to rupiah, right? In
Sure.
you're like a magic calculator on the stage. I said, I think so. So he said, okay, you're gonna translate for John. So I did.
yes.
And
yes.
then this is exactly what you did. You say, and anybody that can speak English and understand the things that I say, please raise your hands.
Yes.
And the whole room raised their hands. So you look at me and you say, well, David, you just lost your job. So the only translation job I ever have is to make one sentence.
Yes.
Do you all understand John Maxwell?
Then we fired you, didn't we?
But then
I
8 years
remember
ago,
that. I
yeah,
remember
but
that.
8 years ago, that thing lead to a conversation like this, one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I asked John, why did you write book? How do you consistently write it? And, is that all? Is it just about selling books? And so John explained that it is about adding values to people. When I read the book, I get to the opportunity to add values to other people. And I thought to myself, like, that is pretty cool.
Yes.
And so not only I got a chance to translate for you, I read your books, but then on that day, you give me a new dream. And I say, okay, maybe I can be a coach and I can add values to other people. I want to be more like John Maxwell. And so the opportunity that today we can do this together, and together not just by myself, but together with Mary and MDCO, to
Sure.
work together with John Maxwell to launch Maxwell Leadership in Indonesia. This is a real blessing, a real treat for us.
Yeah.
Thank you for trusting us.
Well, thank you. Well, I don't need to worry about trusting you. I've already proven. You've already shown to me and to others that you really carry the message of adding value to people with great sincerity. And, when I started writing, David, I had no intention to write books. I would love to read, but it never was a desire for me to write a book. And I had a mentor, and I asked him who wrote books. I asked him, I said, Les, why do you write books? He said, I write books to add value to people that I will never know, that I'll never meet. I want to extend my influence. And I leaned into him that day, and I said to him, I'm going to become a writer. And that very day, I started writing to add value to people that I'll never get to know. And when I think of like what you two are doing in Indonesia and your great desire to make a difference, a positive difference in your country, which is a beautiful country, and then my books and the things that I have written entered your life. Again, this, you're way ahead of David. Oh my gosh.
Yay.
David's not even picking stuff up until 1991. Are you sure you want him to be your partner? Huh? You're right on the front end. You know what I'm saying? But here I am. I'm able, without knowing you yet, to influence you. Without knowing you, I'm, because your father is saying, hey, read my books. When you were crawling around and you couldn't protest. But you see, that's how it works. I'm very grateful that I had a mentor who could see beyond what I could see. And one of the great things that mentors have done in my life is they've stretched me. They've caused me to think things I would not have thought without them, see things I would not have seen without them, and eventually become a person that I could have never become again without them. And I think that is so key for all of us, to find other people, bigger, better, faster, smarter than us, and then be humble enough and receptive enough to learn, to grow, ask questions, and let that be a catalyst for developing us into the leaders that we need to become. And so I'm very grateful that I've been able to influence you, but I'm very grateful for all the people that went before me that influenced me too.
Yeah. That's another question that I would love to ask you, because like for the past one day, we've been spending time with you, hearing you on stage. It was excellent. And you've mentioned a lot of times about mentorship and coaching and how much you value it. So if you can tell us, like, who do you think who are your mentors, and how is their most important lessons that,
Well, my father was my all-time mentor. He was a beautiful man, just passed away a couple years ago at 98 years of age. And so I was privileged to grow up in a leader's home. So when you grow up in a leader's home, you see leadership. And so it was a way of life to me. It was very natural. I didn't realize the benefits I even had until I, went to college and got out of the house. And all of a sudden I realized, my gosh, I know leadership, and so many of my colleagues, peers did not. So my father was a constant presence in my life, all of my life until just a few years ago. And then, I had people like John Wooden, who was a great basketball coach, a great teacher who poured in my life. I think what's important, David and Mary, is this. As we go through seasons of our life, we come to a place where we need somebody else to mentor us.
That's true.
And sometimes it's just for a few years.
Yeah.
And then we grow through that season, we go to the next. And I think a mistake that many people make is, I've heard them say, well, if I could just have one mentor for my entire life, that would be a wonderful thing. And I want to say, first of all, that seldom happens. But I have different mentors for different reasons. For example, I believe that communication, learning how to speak and communicate, is very effective. So I have communication mentors, people who are very good at speaking, and I learn from them. And then I think leadership is important. So I have leadership mentors. I think relationships are important. So I have people that were good with relationships mentor me. So I think what we need to do is find out what we need in our life in the areas of growth, and then go seek out people that excel in that area. So I've been blessed. In my lifetime, I'm certain that I've had 200 mentors in my lifetime.
Wow.
And some of them were with me for a long time, and some of them were with me for a very brief time. But those that were with me just for a season, they gave and deposited and planted within me something in that season that became very fruitful in my life, and I've been very grateful for that. So when people ask me about mentoring, I always share with them, be sure to have different mentors for different reasons and different seasons
Yeah.
to speak in your life. Does that make sense?
Yes,
course.
of course, of
Yeah.
course. I totally believe things that change your life is not what, but is who.
Who that in fact, who sometimes, Mary, is more important than what. Because the attitude and the spirit of the person that mentors you, that's contagious. That's what we catch. And in the beginning, I had books were my mentor,
Yeah.
the author. So I would read a book, and I never met the author, so I couldn't. I was young. They wouldn't know me. It was not possible. So for many years, mentors and authors became my my coaches in life, and then finally I got to meet some of them and develop those relationships.
Yeah. One thing we admire about you is you never stop growing and never stop learning. In fact, at
Correct.
the age of 65, by that time you should be able to retire. But again, at the age of 65, you started a new things, which is the certifications program.
Yes, our coaching program. Yeah,
Yeah.
We started that when I was 65. Then, in fact, a lot of people, Mary, they said, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
First of all, you don't need to do it, and I didn't. I mean, I didn't need it for financial resources. And they said, "You're already 65. Why would you start something at that age?"
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why wouldn't you? If the opportunity is there, and you have developed yourself, I can't think of a better time to start than 65 because, for the first 40 years of a person's life, when we hear the expression, I don't know if they have this expression in Indonesia, but life begins at 40.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, what people don't understand is for the first 40 years, you're just doing research. And then about at 40, you've got it figured out. And so
Okay.
now,
We have been doing
Yeah,
research.
we've
Yeah,
done
we're
research.
still doing research.
Yes,
Still
you're still
doing
your kids. Hey, but listen to me, the wise old man. Okay, the man. But it is so true that in our life, if we continually are curious, if you look at elderly people, sometimes they quit asking questions, and the only reason a person quits asking questions is because they've lost their curiosity. And if you lose your curiosity, you've lost your sense of wonder. And if you've lost your sense of wonder, you don't discover all the incredible things that you could know, but you don't. And when elderly people, when we stop asking questions, we're basically saying, I'm done. And that's, I don't want to be that person. I want to live till I die and not get the two of them confused. You know what I'm saying? I really do. So my passion to learn and grow is greater today
Yeah.
at 77 than it was at 37, 47. Because the more you know you don't know. And the more you don't know, the more you know that you need to know. So nobody ever arrives. I never felt like I'm an expert. I just felt like I'm learning and growing and taking what I learn and grow and passing it on to others. And I think that's the other thing that's important about growth. I don't grow for me alone. I grow for me to learn, and then I grow to pass it on to other people and help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share with us more about why you started this coaching program, and what will our Indonesian friends
Yeah.
will be getting out of this?
Oh my. Well, I started at age 65, which is 12 years ago. It's now the largest coaching company in the world. It's
51,000.
Yeah, 51,000 coaches in 170 countries, including Indonesia. We have
Yeah.
coaches in Indonesia that we're very proud of. And I started the coaching company for two reasons. One is I felt that I was privileged to have a good name in the leadership business world.
Of course.
And I thought, how helpful would this be if I loaned my name to people? And I had a lot of people tell me I shouldn't do that either, because they said, well, what happens if they go mess up something? And we're all human, so somebody's going to go mess it up. And I had to kind of debate and pray and think about that for a couple of months, because I thought, well, yeah, you work hard to get where you are, and then somebody comes and does something stupid. And then I got to think about it. I thought, no, I think that what I've accomplished will always be greater than what somebody that perhaps wouldn't utilize the name correctly can ever hurt. And so I made that decision. It was a great decision because the name opens doors for people. And opens doors for people that honestly, if they didn't have the name, they wouldn't have got in. So I wanted to help people, wanted to add value to people. And then I guess selfishly, I wanted to have legs for my legacy. In other words, I want to leave, when we think of leaving a legacy, there are certain things in our legacy we leave for people, and there are certain things that we leave in people. And that's two different things. And I thought, I'm going to develop coaches that we can train them and give some things for them that they can build a business and become entrepreneurs. We've got a lot of successful coaches now that do very well financially. But then I said I want to leave something in them too. I want to leave the spirit of kindness and generosity and positivity and embracing diversity. I just want to put, I don't know, my spirit, my heart, my mindset, my attitude. I want to be close enough to them that it gets in them. Because if it's in them, greatness, I think, is when you're bigger on the inside than you are on the outside. And, as long as I live, my Father will never die because his spirit and attitude's within me. And as I thought, well, what happened if I could do that with coaches? And they could be people of abundance and people of positivity. And so that's what we did, and that's what's worked out. And I think that's why we're the largest coaching company in the world. We're very grateful.
Well, Mary and I, we read a lot of your books, obviously. You talk a lot about putting people first. You talk about adding values to other people. So I have had the privilege now to few times, engaging you in person. But more than that, I've been meeting a lot of people in the Maxwell leadership team. So it's one thing that John Maxwell wrote it, and then it's another thing that John Maxwell actually lived it out. But it's another thing to see that it is actually happening also with the leadership team inside Maxwell. And then I can sense it, I can feel it. When I was visiting you guys in Orlando a couple of months back, I wrote my wife and I say that here comes, I know John is a great guy. When I'm excited to see him. But then when you start to talk to the people inside the organization, then you know that this is not just about selling something. I mean, at the end of the day, we all sell something. But this is not about selling something. This is about living out the values. You guys really have the heart. And that's what I think really got stuck with us. And so we really look forward to do this in Indonesia. And the prayer is that we not just do it, but we also live out the values that you have been living for this long.
I love how you said that, David, because, well, first of all, I've been to Indonesia maybe not a lot of times. I've been there maybe 8 or 10 times, and it's a beautiful country, and they're wonderful people. And for us to be able to come and share and teach and mentor and have resources that will help people improve their life is a real honor to us, and it's because of people like you that have opened that door. But I think the people of Indonesia are worthy of the best leadership that can be given to them. We have an expression in our John Maxwell companies that everyone deserves to be led well. I really believe that. So we want to lead well, serve well, add value well, make an impact on Indonesia, because Indonesia, in turn, will make a greater impact on the world. And so we never look at ourselves as the end, we look at ourselves as the beginning. So what do? I add value to you two, and then you two add value to others who add value to others, and it compounds. And you transform a company or a country one table at a time. And I'm patient. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to have 6 or 8 people sitting around a table learning good values, watching them then live them and embrace them and practice them. It changes their lives. And we see that in countries around the world. So to be able to come to Indonesia and to serve them and to value them and add value to them is a real honor to us. really looking forward to it.
We look
Yeah.
forward to have you in Indonesia soon.
We'll change the
In
intention
person.
into action.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. You're too simple.
My last questions to you, John. 77 years.
70
living.
sounds fine, though. It was-
77
I
for
discount
me.
10%.
but it's really 77.
77 years, 90 books, thousands of great quotes, millions of people that you have impacted. But if there's one wisdom that you can share, especially to the millions of the followers who is watching today, so what will be that one wisdom?
Well, that's a great question. And I think of all the lessons I've learned in life, and the people in the lives that have changed me. When you ask for one, it's a little difficult. But I think if I had one thing right now to share with people, it would be what my father gave me as advice when I graduated from college. And I asked him how to be successful as I start off on my career. And that night at our graduation dinner, he said, John, every day, value people, believe in people, and unconditionally love people. He said, if you just do those three things, value people, believe in people, and unconditionally love them, honestly, he said, you'll do very well in life. And I heard that at 22. So I heard that 55 years ago. And for 55 years, I've done my best to value people, believe in people, and unconditionally love people. I'm human, and sometimes I don't do it as well as I could or should, and sometimes I have to back up and do a little reverse and make changes in my life. But my heart and intention always is to value people, believe in them, and unconditionally love them. And I think that the foundation of that is truly the fact that valuing people is the foundation or the platform to truly adding value to them. I think people know when you value them, and I think people know when you don't value them. I don't think you can fake it. So I think we're to be bigger on the inside than we are on the outside. We're to be better on the inside than the outside. So success to me has never been something that I chase. I don't try to chase it. I just try to live those values in my life that I think are valid. And what we've discovered as we've done Transformation of Nations is that as people learn good values and then they live them, they just become more valuable. They become more valuable to themselves. They become more valuable to their family, their community, their country. Hopefully we could do that some in Indonesia. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Huh?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
You
Looking
know,
forward.
I always tell people that, successful people normally either intimidate you, young people, or they inspire you.
Yeah.
You are such an inspiration to us all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope to be an inspiration.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me come and be a part, not only of your program, but let me be a part of your wonderful country and culture. We'll do our best to live well, serve well, and value you well.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
trusting us and having us.
It's my
Yes.
joy. Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you too.
Yeah.
Hi, John Maxwell here. I'm so excited about Inspira Fest, Day to Grow.
Di hadapan saya hadir pengusaha-pengusaha hebat Indonesia.
That's coming this November in your beautiful country. Trust me, you do not want to miss it.
This is going to be incredible. I look forward to seeing you live in Indonesia for Inspira Fest Day to Grow.
Laksana bumi tanpa hujan, hidup tanpa tujuan, kering dan mati tanpa hijaunya tumbuhan. Demikian kalau mimpi tak kunjung terjadi.